welcome back to my channel. This is Stephanie, and today I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you I'm wrapping up January already. I know it's only the, what day is it? It's only the 28th. We're on a Sunday. It's Sunday, guys. I just finished doing a video. I will should already be up, but I'm done. I was going through what I've read so far in the month of January, and then I saw what I'm currently waiting for, which is obviously the third book in the Sarah J. Maas series of Crescent City. And you know what? I will get it in January the 30th, hopefully. But I'm going to read it physically, not listen to it. I'm gonna actually open that book. I'm gonna read those words, and I haven't done that in a long time. It's been so many months, and I don't know if I can do it. So I'm gonna challenge myself, and it might literally take me the whole month of February. And I was like, I can't. So I was like, let's go over quickly what I've already read in January, because yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. So I don't even know if I'm gonna have a TBR for February, because I think I'm just gonna spend the entire month trying to read this book, because it looks like it's gonna be another big chunker and it's gonna take me a while. Okay, so we're gonna start with Wildfire by Hannah Grace. This is the first book that I read, and I finished this quite quickly. I actually heard this on audiobook, but anyways, this is part of the, I guess it's a Maple Hills. It's kind of in the same space as Icebreaker, which involves a hockey player and an ice skating girl. So this pretty much tells about Russ and Aurora. And Russ and this is Nate's friend Russ, who's also on the hockey team as well. So pretty much this story takes place in their summer break. He doesn't come from a very great family. They're not well off like most of the characters that we kind of saw in Icebreaker, if you've read it, of course. If you haven't, I am so sorry. You probably won't know what the heck I'm talking about, but if you have, so he doesn't come from a very, well-off family. So he goes to work at the summer camp because he needs that extra money. So it's 3 months, but he ends up, and this is all kind of a little bit of, I'm not spoiling anything, but he ends up having a one-night stand with a girl he doesn't really get the name of, but her name is Aurora. And then she kind of ghosts him, and he's like, okay, I really liked her. I kind of wanted to like get to know her, kind of talk to her more. I really don't do this that often, do a one-night stand and that's it. And he is so sweet. He's so sweet. But when he finally sees her at the camp, at the summer camp for kids, like they're going to stay there at the summer camp and take care of these kids. And sure enough, she's there. Aurora's there. And it's kind of awkward at first, and they don't really talk to each other. And she's like, well, he's ignoring me. He's like, well, she's ignoring me. She ghosted me. But anyways, their story unfolds, and of course they finally talk, and just, it's so beautiful how everything just took place. Things get resolved because, Russ does come from a bit of a broken family home, and he has some issues with his father. So, you get that aspect of a heartbreaking story, but in the end it gets resolved beautifully, and I think it leaves off great. And, just the life that they both kind of build and they grow, because they're college students and they're still kind of immature, but they're trying to be adults as well. So just, I loved their characters so much, and their relationship was so beautiful. And I really did. I think I liked it a little bit more than Icebreaker, but nonetheless, I did give this a 5-star on my Goodreads, so I loved it. So that's all. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, guys, I read a bit of a suspense book, and I've heard nothing but good things, and I know people were skeptical about the ending, that it kind of left you like not knowing the true answer, but honestly I think I know the true answer to this book, personally, me. But it's called None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. Oh my gosh, guys, this book was a wild ride. It was wild, and I loved every second of it. You just did not know what was real, what was not real. Like, are they telling the story correctly? Is she telling the story correctly? Are you telling the story correctly? It's like, am I reading it correctly? Like, I don't know, but this was a fun ride, and I blown away, honestly. I give this nothing. If I could give this 10 stars, I would. It was perfect. Honestly, if they truly made this into a movie or like a limited series on Netflix, Hulu, whatever, Amazon, I don't care. This would be so much fun, obviously, if they did this correctly. But wonderful. This was beautiful. But this pretty much, quick summary, this pretty much talks about Alex. She's a podcaster, and she kind of talks about women and uplifting. And then there is Josie. They're both at this restaurant when the story begins. They're both celebrating their birthday. One is a little bit more elaborate, which is Alex. She's more a little bit loud about it because she has all her friends there and she has guests, and you know, they're celebrating at a restaurant. And then there's Josie, who is a little bit more meek and a little bit more quiet and subdued, and then they kind of bump into each other, I think while going to the restroom, I want to say. And they're like, oh, we're birthday twins, like I was born on this day, like, and at this hospital, like, oh my god, so was I. So they kind of have that little introduction to each other, and Josie is just wanting to know more about her. So she kind of like starts investigating her a little bit, and honestly, wow. I don't know. I want to say so much, but I can't because I don't want to spoil it for anyone at all. But it's so good. Like, you know, they have such different lives. Story that Alex tries to get from Josie, because Josie is like, I'm 45, I need a new start, I need a new life, I need a reset pretty much. She's like, I want you to interview me. I want to tell you my story from when I grew up to now where I am, because I just want a new start. I want to get out of my life that I'm currently in, and you know, I want everybody to listen to it. And you know, Alex is like, well, that's great, but then Alex starts noticing some little odd things about Josie, and things start going a little chaotic, because it seems like maybe there's like an obsession is the best way to put it, on Josie's part towards Alex. And so yeah, from there it has you thinking at the end, like, the entire story, you know, was it true? Was any of this true, what I was told? But honestly, guys, I believe the ending. I believe the ending that I was given, and that's all I will say about that. And if you want to have a discussion about it, let's do that in the comments, and we'll just put spoilers ahead. But it was wonderful. This was such a good book. Oh, I can't wait. I want to read more of Lisa Jewell's book because this was amazing. And that's all I'll say. All right, the third book that I ended up reading is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. Guys, this was tough. This was such a tough book to get through. You know, I had started it previously, like a couple of weeks ago, and then I put it down, and then I picked it back up. I was like, let's get through it. Like, I had already started it. Let's just try to finish it. And it's like 300 pages. It should be a fast read. But honestly, guys, I cannot take this. Like, these little footnotes. And I just, it was such a trippy time, is all I can say. It pretty much, all right, let's start from the beginning, I guess. It pretty much follows Opal, who's obsessed with like the house that's there in her town, and she has like a younger brother, Jasper, and they lived in this place called Eden for so long and grew up with tales of this house. And she gets close to it one night, and there she finds that it's being taken care of by the current caretaker of the home. His name is Arthur. He's supposed to be the heir to this house, to be the next caretaker, but it seems like this house has like a mind of its own. Like, there's something really weird going on with this house. So it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if y'all have ever seen Monster House, where those two little kids and they come upon this old man, and the house is kind of alive, and because it's haunted by the spirit of his dead wife. Sorry if you have not seen it, but it's a good movie. You guys should see it. But anyways, I digress. But it kind of reminds me of that. That movie's, honestly, that movie's been out for so long. Shame on you if you've not watched it. And it's not because I have kids. It's because it's actually a really good movie. But anyways, yes. It kind of reminded me of that movie like so much, just in like a kind of young adult type way, but this was much more just weird and trippy, and we have like these odd side characters that make no, like, I don't know what they brought to the storyline, I guess, and that's just my opinion. But I didn't really enjoy this book too much, and I gave it a 3-star, and I really tried to chug along. I even like times it by 2.5 speed because I was like, I cannot take this anymore. And I, no disrespect on whoever did enjoy this book, but it was really hard for me. So I'm sorry. I just could not, and I will never again. So this is probably going to be a book that I will be donating. So yes. Let's move on, because yeah, I don't know what more else I could give in explaining that book. So yeah. The next, I actually read a full series. I'm so proud of myself this month, and honestly, the only reason I got to read the full series is because all books were available on audio for free on my Libby app. But it's The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So I got to read the first book. I got to read The Hawthorne Legacy and The Final Gambit. Guys, the first book definitely, okay, it definitely had that Knives Out feel. Like, it definitely had a lot of that, but this one had like a little bit more puzzles and going on little missions, and yeah, so that was fun. So pretty much, so this follows our main character, Avery Grams, and she pretty much is just a regular 16-year-old high school student, and then one day she gets a visit by a Hawthorne, and apparently they're like some big time billionaire family living in Texas, and the main patriarch of the family, Tobias Hawthorne, has passed away, and he leaves all of his billions of dollars and company and shares and homes and everything to Avery Grams, who he seemingly has no connection to at all. And all he does is tell her, I'm sorry. Great. So he has a huge family that obviously are trying to contest this, but they made it so ironclad with this will that they're like, no, there's so many stipulations. No one can really test this will or put it to, you know, anything. Like, there's no getting out of this will. Like, everybody that was told what they were going to get is what they're going to get, and that's all. But he has these 4 grandsons. James, we have Grayson, we have Nate, 4th is Xander. And then we have this cool lawyer, Alyssa. And yeah, so as soon as they get there, they all are very curious because apparently they've been looking for Avery for a couple of weeks since the passing of their grandfather, because they said we can't read the will until we find this girl. They find her, and then the mystery ensues afterward because Tobias loved games and puzzles and riddles and little missions. So that's pretty much what we do in all 3 books. But obviously there is a little bit of a love triangle-ish between James and between Grayson, who is always named as the apparent heir. I guess he was supposed to get everything, but he did not. So yeah, he is attracted to Avery. James is attracted to Avery. Honestly, I have a soft spot for Grayson always. So that's all I'll say. So if you've read this, you know what I'm talking about. I prefer Grayson, just to be honest. But yeah, it's pretty much just going through, because she has to live in the house for up to a year in order for her to receive, you know, the entire fortune. But that is difficult because his whole family, you know, lives there. Like, he has 2 daughters, you know, they have, one of the daughters has, you know, the 4 grandsons, his grandsons, and then the other daughter has her husband there. So they all live in this big, huge mansion. They're like, don't worry, everyone can live here. We probably will never run into each other. But as you know, you keep reading and finding out the story of everyone has secrets. No one is safe. So you just start uncovering secrets, you know, by, you know, secrets from all the grandsons and secrets from their parents and secrets from, you know, the grandfather himself, and, you know, all these side characters that we learn, like even the lawyer that's there, you have secrets from her, and it's just a twisty tale, and it was enjoyable. I really, really liked this series. It was really fun. It was a good 5 stars for the entire series, for each book, whatever you want to say it. And yeah, that's all I'll say, because there's so much. There's so much of game playing that it's kind of hard to, you know, go through it all, because there's so much. But I definitely do like that aspect of trying to find out what's going on, how do these things match up with this other thing. So I love that. So it was a fun ride. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, it was great. All right, so that's that. And then of course I did a reread of Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, and then I did a reread of House of Sky and Breath. And yeah, these took a while, even through audiobook, because the audiobooks were very long, and I'm trying to like listen to this while I'm working, which can pose a bit of a distraction sometimes, because in my work, in my job, I have to read you know, things that come in. So because I'm dealing with health care things, so I need to make sure I pay attention. So sometimes I get distracted and I have to go back and re-listen, or wait till I jump into another thing where it's kind of like mindless working and it's easier for me to listen and pay attention to. But it's because this was a reread, I kind of knew what was going on, and things just, you know, I just picked up on new things. And okay, this follows Bryce Quinlan, and trying to, after a horrific death of her friend, her best friend Danica, she pretty much goes on a mission to find out what happened, because the scene of that was a hot, not great mess. And she just wants to find out what's going on. She just wants to find out what's going on, why, like who wanted her friend dead. So yes, so this is like the very beginning. I'm not spoiling anything, but then we have Hunt Athalar, who is pretty much placed on the case to solve this by the archangels, because there's some archangels. We got some werewolves, we got some vampires, we got some line shifters, we got some fawns and some assassins, and it's just a great time and I love it. Sarah J Maas just has such a great way of world building and just falling in love with these characters, because she's just so she's so good at it. I don't know how else to explain it. She's probably one of my top favorite, if not the only top favorite author ever. So it's such just a magical world, and as we come to find out, you know, everything is not as it seems when she and Hunt are having to investigate and go through all of these things that she's slowly uncovering. Like, did she actually know her friend at all? So yeah, it's such a good story. And you know, she is half fae, half human. She has a wonderful parent. She has her cousin Rune, which, guys, Rune is... Anyways, Rune is amazing. Hunt, amazing. He's an angel, but he does have like a crown because he was part of a rebellion that happened like a long time ago. But because of that rebellion, he is marked as a slave pretty much. So he has to pretty much pay off this slave by the archangels. He has to pay off his debt, I guess. So the archangel Micah is like, if you can solve this case, then you only need 10 missions and you're a free person, you know, you're a free angel. So he's like, yes. So anyway, so we have that going on. You have Danica was a very powerful werewolf, and she had a very powerful pack, you know, and she has this alpha mother who is very headstrong. So yeah, you just kind of learn so much. It's really hard to put into words these books because they're just so well written, and it's hard to try to put every single thing you want to say about each character in a condensed, you know, video. But yeah, I mean, if you've ever read anything by Sarah J Maas, it's hard to just go on a short, you know, rant. It's going to be a long rant. It's hard to articulate into words, really, what I want to say, what I can say without revealing too much, because guys, the ending of House of Sky and Breath is breathtaking. and it's beautiful, and I'm so excited. And I know there's been so many things coming out recently by Sarah J Maas and her publishing company. Big spoiler, so do not go look at that if you haven't read it, or if you haven't finished reading it. Do not do that. If you haven't got past The House of Sky and Breath, just don't do it. Don't do that to yourself. Don't spoil it. That's why I'm going to try to block everything and try to stay away from anything spoilery, because I'm going to be reading the third book of House of Flame and Shadow. I'm hoping I get these books quick. I was gonna buy it through Kindle, but I was like, no, I want the physical book. I want it in my hands. I want to read it. I want to hold it. I want to smell it. I want to flip through the pages. I like to look at it front and back. I kind of like to do a little, like, I like to do this as well. I like to stop on random pages and just kind of read a little bit and then go through another. And it's the way I read when I have like an actual book. It's the way I read. It's weird. It's odd. I don't know what to tell you, but that's how I read. But yeah, that's what it is, I guess. So anyways, that is all for Crescent City. For the House of Earth and Blood, you know, she just goes on this mission with Hunt, and yeah, they end up solving the murder, and it's epic. That ending is epic. Those last few chapters, wow, it's awesome. And again, I don't want to say too much. It's a lot. It's frustrating is what it is. So anyways, that's all I'll say about that. And then House of Sky and Breath, my gosh, this book is so big. Anyways, this pretty much picks up 3 months after the events of the first book, and we pretty much learn that there is some things happening. It seems that maybe Danica is still involved with some other things that, you know, we didn't really know about. So she's still uncovering some things about her friend, which is amazing. Like, how many secrets can someone keep? Apparently a lot. But yeah, so she starts working with some characters from her past. She starts working with, you get introduced to a merman. He's amazing. She's obviously working with Rune. There's a lot of storylines that you're kind of following, and a lot of point of views that you're following. So you really have to pay attention to what these storylines are going through, because trust me, these things will play out in big ways at a later time, because that's what she does. That's what Sarah does. And that's all I can say about it. But yeah, she just goes on another mission, trying to find out the truth of what these Asteries are doing with the hierarchy. Maybe dismantling, I want to say. Maybe trying to figure out these powers that are at play. You know, these different people, these different factions. You're learning about the history of Lunathian and what it's built on, and not like the ground built on, but like the lies maybe. And you know, you just find some truths. And again, it's really hard to say much, because then we're talking about a lot of spoilers that I don't want to do if you've never read any, and I mean any, of Sarah J Maas's books. It would be well to read all of her books, and that's what I have done. Let's do spoilers here, just short. So if you don't want to get spoiled because you've never read any of her other books, turn away now. Speed up about 30 seconds or so. These books are all interconnected, okay? I just want you to know that they're all interconnected. Everything you've read from her Throne of Glass series and ACOTAR series, they're all connected. I picked up on it. I picked up on it when I read ACOTAR, because that was the first series that I read. And there's this part in ACOTAR that was connected to a part that happened in Throne of Glass. And you just start to learn that these universes are maybe in the same, not planets I want to say, but there's different universes and somehow all connected. And that's all I'll say. I'll stop. Guys, anyways, I cannot anymore. I cannot talk about this anymore because I'm just going to end up spoiling everything, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to end this here. I'm sorry if maybe everything was a little jumbled while I was talking about Crescent City, but that's just what happens because there's just so much stories. And if you want to talk about one character, you have to talk about this other character. And if you want to talk about that character, you have to talk about, you know, what they mean to the story. So it's kind of hard to do that in such a limited space. And anyways, I just can't. I can't. Mostly because I have no time, and mostly because I don't want to spoil anything. And also I'm very hungry, so I want to go and eat as well. So that's it for me. Honestly, I don't know when my next video will be out because I'm going to be too busy reading, and I don't know how long that's going to take me. And I want to have that take priority over everything else. So I'm going to put everything else on the back burner so I can finish this third book because I need answers. And I'm scared because her last interview that I saw, I was in shambles because I don't know what she's going to do with these characters, and I'm scared. I am so scared. My heart is already hurting, and I haven't read it yet, but from that interview, I expect to be very sad. Very sad, very heartbroken, and I'm already starting to tear up. Okay, I gotta go, guys. I gotta go because there's things happening. It's probably because I'm hungry too, so those are probably tears of hunger as well. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in to this chaotic early January wrap up. I'm out of here. Okay, guys, goodbye. I will see you guys at another time. I don't know when. I'm so sorry, just letting you know ahead of time. But thank you so much for watching. Please like, please comment, please hit the bell notifications. Please comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts. If you want to go on some spoily rants with me about Sarah J Maas, about Crescent City, about ACOTAR, about anything, please let me know. And I will, yeah, see you later. Bye.